Hello and welcome to this special event I'm calling Wrong Turn Week. In a recent episode of Letterboxd Roulette, I mentioned that the original Wrong Turn is a movie I think about a lot. I've been doing these daily videos for a little over a month now, and it's already come up numerous times. The reason for this is very simple. I watched the original Wrong Turn when I was very young. Adult me knows that it's not an amazing movie, but 13-year-old me had his fucking mind blown. Wrong Turn was my introduction to backwoods horror, which is still one of my favorite horror subgenres. That being said, the only sequels that I'm actually familiar with are Wrong Turn 2 and the 2021 reboot, so I think it's time that I tackle this entire franchise. I'm not really expecting any of the other sequels to be that good. Their negative reception is why I skipped them in the first place, but hopefully we'll have some fun along the way. There are 7 movies in total, so I will be covering one film per video throughout the week. And let's start with the original Wrong Turn, which is certainly of an ilk. I know 2000s horror gets a bad rap, and I understand why, but there's something about it that I keep coming back to. This could be because my most formative years were in the mid-2000s, but I don't actually think that's quite it. I'm not a very nostalgic person. However, the more the world around us descends into chaos, the more I yearn for a simpler time. And Wrong Turn is for sure a simple movie. I think this specific subgenre of 2000s horror is so incredibly watchable that it's a shame we don't really get movies like this anymore. I'm talking about stuff like this movie, the remakes of House of Wax, Black Christmas, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. At some point, the studios behind these movies decided to crank up the violence and gore to an insane degree, all while casting some of the hottest people you've ever fucking seen in your entire life. Is it high art? Fuck no. But it's thoroughly entertaining, and I eat that shit up every time. The plot of Wrong Turn could be summarized on the back of a napkin, and I think that's what's so beautiful about it. These people took a wrong turn, now they're fucked, is an all-timer of a premise. Sure, it lifts a lot of its ideas from The Hills Have Eyes, but the West Virginia setting gives it enough of its own vibe to stand on its own. I called the movie simple, but that's not because I find it stupid, at least not when it comes to how it delivers its horror. The Wrong Turn franchise has a reputation of being extremely gory, but it takes a while for this first movie to get there. The first couple of kills are mostly off-screen, and I think that's very smart. It's like the film is luring you into this false sense of security before it reaches its now iconic butchering sequence. I remember it being the best part of the film, and it definitely still is. In a movie that's mostly pretty mid, this is a top-tier horror sequence right here. I'm assuming you already know the story of Wrong Turn, but just in case you don't, when these 4 characters get to this nightmare murder house, they have no idea what's in store for them. Usually these types of sequences are saved for the end of the movie because they're very impactful and can fill in a lot of the backstory. Think Vera Miles going through the house at the end of Psycho, or when they get to the top floor apartment in Wreck. Wrong Turn flips the script by showing you the crazy murder house at the start of the second act. I hadn't seen this movie since 2007, but I still remembered pretty much everything about this scene. The way they have to hide and keep quiet while their friend's body is being mutilated right in front of them is straight up nightmare fuel. They don't even know their friend is dead until her body is dropped right in front of them. It's a crazy gruesome turn for the movie to take, where it goes from 0 to 100 very effectively. Stan Winston was a producer on the movie, so of course he got his studio to work on it. The practical gore looks amazing and really helps sell how awful this entire scenario is for the characters hiding, unable to do anything. It's no surprise that the sequels to Wrong Turn decided to up the gore significantly, because it's by far the most striking thing about the original. After that butchering sequence, all of the kills go hog wild. The rest of the movie is essentially a chase sequence, which, again, I love. There's very little fluff as the runtime clocks in at a lean 84 minutes. That's another thing about these 2000 slashers I love. They rarely waste your time. I know the characters are paper thin, but when you cast likable actors like Elijah Dushku and Jeremy Sisto, that doesn't really matter. A lot of this movie gets by on vibes alone. That's kind of why I called it mid earlier. It's a very entertaining mid, but I'm not gonna be all delusional about it. You can practically feel this movie running out of steam towards the end, and the few attempts at character moments should have been scrapped entirely. I'm at least glad they didn't try to shoehorn in a romance between Elisha Dushku and Desmond Harrington, because they have negative chemistry on screen. Even so, the original Wrong Turn is a lot of fun, and its villains are iconic at this point. Freefinger in particular is so unnerving with his weird high-pitched laughter. It's no surprise they brought him back for the sequels, but unfortunately with different actors. In classic slasher movie fashion, all of the cannibals feel vaguely supernatural. Even though there's only 3 of them in this movie, they are everywhere all at once, constantly on the heels of the survivors. They also take an ungodly amount of damage without ever missing a beat. Wrong Turn is a perfectly serviceable slasher that spawned a shit ton of sequels. The rest of this franchise would end up being defined by its first straight-to-DVD follow-up, Wrong Turn 2: Dead End. This first movie has some crazy shit in it, but it's not nearly as violent as some people make it out to be. I guess it's kinda like Saw in that way, where the sequels end up blending together with the original in people's minds. That first murder house sequence still goes pretty hard, though. We'll see where this week takes us. I know most of these movies are supposed to be pretty bad, but hopefully they're bad in an entertaining way. Check back for the second film tomorrow, though. I remember that one being pretty good. Also, hey, maybe subscribe, leave a like, and hang out in the comments. We have fun here, I think. Alright, bye!